Hey folks, hope you guys are having a fabulous Saturday. Having a good one. Big week, big day. I don't think any need to recap any of the news of what's been going on here. So, um, you know what it is. The short stuff. Let's see here. Let's see if this works. All right. So, yeah, you guys don't need me to go over everything that's gone on here. We can, of course, chat about it. So, a lot of it was interesting. It's been one of the most interesting weeks, I think, as far as news goes in a while. And, that's fine. One of the things that I think about with this kind of stuff is everybody, whenever you have like a televised courtroom event, almost nobody has time to sit through all the court stuff the way the jury does. So there tends to be this filtering that happens. And I noticed this with the OJ Simpson trial. Audio sounds muffled. It shouldn't. It should sound normal. So anyway, I noticed this with my microphone shouldn't be deactivated. Like it's showing up on my screen. Is it showing up on yours? Here, I'll turn the sound on this. It should sound normal. So, anyway, I noticed this with. All right, yeah, the stream seems like it has sound. Hopefully, it's the correct sound that everybody's used to. Do I have my microphone forward? I do. So, yeah, I don't know what could be your problem with it, but it should be fine. We can also, let's try mix control, make sure mix control is working right. Make sure everything is set up here. Turned up. That should be fine. I don't use the Yeti mic. I use like a whole sound interface thing. So I'll listen to it again. I don't use the Yeti mic. I use like a whole sound interface thing. So I'll double check the settings of things, guys, before I get into this little discussion here. Oh yeah, that's why it's using a microphone on this thing for some reason. There we go. Let's fix that. I'll double check the settings of things, guys, before I get into this little discussion here. It's funny because like on the program, it's using the correct microphone. Oh yeah, that's why it's using a microphone on this thing for some reason. There we go. Let's fix that. I'll double check the settings of things, guys, before I get into this little discussion. All right, let's check now. It's funny because like on the program, it's using the correct microphone. Oh yeah, that's why it's using a microphone on this thing. Yeah, I have an extra webcam that's plugged in to like show documents over here, and that's what it's doing. All right, let's check now. All right, yeah, there it goes. All right, okay, thanks guys. That should be better. I changed some stuff with my operating system, so everything got reset. So I assume that's what it was. For whatever reason, it decided some random webcam, because I have multiple webcams plugged in, that should be the actual mic instead of, this mic right here, which is a good one. Okay. All right, folks, let's go ahead. So here's what I wanted to say about this week. All right, thank you. All right, so one of the things that happens when you have a televised court event is that almost nobody actually is able to watch the entire thing. And having been through a trial before as a plaintiff, a very big and serious one, there's a lot of stuff that goes on minute to minute that you aren't aware of, especially with the lawyering, that is actually really important. So what most people are doing is they're seeing highlights or clips or commentary from some other person on what's going on in the courtroom. If you have the time to watch the entire courtroom event, that's interesting for you, I guess, but that's not really the experience for most people. Most people don't have time to sit around watching a courtroom event, and so instead what they get is a filtered view. And depending on who is doing that filtering, you're going to get a biased perspective. Whether that bias is towards the plaintiff or towards the defendant or towards the prosecution really depends on who's filtering the information. One of the things that I noticed this week that I did some commentary on a new channel that I am going to try to just post daily garbage on, called Banter, that you have personalities, say on Twitter, that will engage in commentary that's propagandistic. So this guy who is a self-proclaimed body language expert came on and he actually deleted this tweet because he got ratioed so freaking hard on Twitter that he probably almost deleted his account out of embarrassment. But you know, Kyle Rittenhouse did a motion of like putting a magazine into a gun, right? Like you insert the box magazine in this way or like this, right? And he's like, oh, well, he's making a masturbation motion and he's a sexual sadist. And that's what my expert opinion on body language happens to say. This guy's an expert on body language in the same way that like an autistic person is an expert on body language, or he's simply lying, because I think it's really probably the latter, that he's, you know, slightly psychopathic person and lies to get attention. So the other one is like he decided to diagnose the judge with a histrionic personality disorder based on these screenshots that he paused. Now, histrionic personality disorder, something very specific that a psychologist can diagnose with a set of behaviors that are very specific and are really impact your ability to operate normally. That's the thing about personality disorders that a lot of people miss, is that like chances are somebody's not going to be a judge with a significant personality disorder, especially histrionic personality disorder, which causes people to be overly seductive and things like that. This definitely wasn't that. And the guy isn't a psychologist anyway, so he's not a psychiatrist or a psychologist. He's not I'm just as qualified to diagnose a personality disorder as he is. I believe he's like a physician or something like that. He calls himself a doctor. So you just self-proclaim yourself a body language expert, and then you say, oh, here's these bad things about the bad people on the bad side, and people just kind of absorb that information and take it to heart. It's a certain kind of filtering that happens. So people are not watching every second of the courtroom drama. What they're paying attention to is guys like this doctor guy, who I think Dr. Jack Brown or something, who are basically just saying things that inflame their anger and their whatever feelings they associate with being on their side. And you can get some of the stuff from the right too, from the other side, the people who are for the defendant in that case. But it's a really good example is that depending on who you're getting that information filtered from, it's a really like clear-cut case of self-defense, or it's some guy just killing people randomly. The event was obviously more chaotic than I think what most people realize, unless you really watched the footage that was involved and things like that. What I find a lot more interesting about the case is the possibility of prosecutorial misconduct. And people were wondering, like, why didn't the judge declare a mistrial with prejudice, blah, blah, blah. Well, if you let the jury come out and make the decision, then people feel really good about that, generally speaking. If you were going to declare a mistrial because of bad prosecutorial misconduct, that's that's something you can do. But if that happens and then the jury still returns the correct verdict or returns a verdict for the defendant, it really didn't matter the abuses or the rights violations that the prosecution happened to engage in during the course of that trial, because the outcome, still went to the jury and he was acquitted. And once you're acquitted, you can't undo that acquittal. So this is an optionality thing, which is like, if he were to get convicted, you still have the option for a mistrial, and you certainly have the option for a mistrial during the appeal process, because all of the objections, all of the judge's notes, all of those would end up being going to appeal. A lot of people don't understand the appeal process. It's not like a second trial. Rather, what happens is that you have a higher court that goes over all the technicalities of law and how the trial was performed. The prosecution was violating Miranda rights, or was trying to force the defendant to testify against himself, et cetera, et cetera. They didn't turn over evidence, or they turned over different evidence from what they used. They intentionally misled the defense, whatever things kind of might come out of that. And you can still get things that might, fall down on the DA for that. But the point was that if it goes to the jury and they acquit, then that's it. That's the final decision. So that's why the judge didn't declare a mistrial right away, in case people were wondering. And people usually will see a jury verdict as being somehow valid, but I think that's shifted over a lot since the OJ Simpson trial. So the OJ Simpson trial was the first time I noticed this. Everybody thought OJ Simpson was guilty. Almost nobody watched the entire courtroom thing from the perspective of the jury. Rather, they get outside things which bias the decision. The reason that you control what information the jury has access to is to avoid bias. You wouldn't, for instance, go into it and here's President Biden telling you that the defendant is a white supremacist and should be locked away. You don't want the jury to see that or acknowledge that. In fact, you instruct them to ignore the comments of the President of the United States, because they will influence your ability to give an impartial view or an impartial account of events and law for the accused. So in the OJ Simpson trial, almost everyone came away thinking OJ Simpson was guilty, including me. Now, what's interesting about the OJ Simpson trial is around that time is when I first realized that the media actively engages in dishonesty. And Michael Malice, who wrote a really fun book called Dear Reader, the unauthorized autobiography of Kim Jong-il, which is a really fun book, and I recommend it to anybody who's interested in North Korea to read that book, because it's just a really cool book. And really funny and frightening in other ways. But he says the press is factually correct, but what does he say? They are factual but not truthful. That's what he says. Factual but not truthful. I've heard it. I think Scott Adams says they are, they're factually correct but directionally wrong. In other words, they list things that are true but arrange them in a way to make you come to a conclusion that's false. And so what I noticed, after O.J. Simpson's arrest, let's say, they had this mugshot of him where his skin was darkened. He was made to look darker skinned than he was. And they changed the photo, and they enhanced all of the contrast and things like that, to just make him look really, intimidating. And, darkening the skin is an interesting thing that they did. But yeah, they did all that. They darkened the skin. They made him look like a more intimidating and imposing figure. That wasn't his actual mugshot. His actual mugshot, he looked much more like himself. They made him look like he hadn't shaved or something, like more, 5 o'clock shadow looking and things like that. Then you go through this whole trial, and it's like the trial of the century. And then the jury acquits O.J. Simpson. And so people are completely confused. They're like, how could there was DNA, and DNA evidence means DNA, and how could the jury come to this conclusion? They must have just been biased and wanted to acquit a black man. And I've heard lots of people say, no, it was about sending a message that, the white people, sending a message to the white people, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that was that. Having seen better filtering from actual trial lawyers about what was in the case and how it was presented, and especially some of the closing arguments with Johnny Cochran. Now, like, the closing arguments really put everything into perspective and encapsulated what the case the defense was trying to make, which is that essentially the story that the prosecution was trying to tell doesn't make any sense. It was actually a nonsensical narrative. The narrative is not coherent. That OJ Simpson drove and did this and then came back and like dropped this, that all the things that the prosecution is trying to establish as part of this case simply wouldn't make any sense. There's no reason for anybody to have done those things. The things that they're suggesting he did would be impractical or impossible. And as you go through all the list of events, you start to realize, yeah, the defense actually made a really good case as to why there's definitely reasonable doubt for whether OJ Simpson did it. And in fact, having seen that kind of information filtered, it really changed my perspective. It made me think, I really could see a jury saying there's definitely reasonable doubt whether OJ Simpson did it. Now, is it more likely that he did it or not? That's not the standard. You can say, I think it's more likely that he did it than not. But that is not the standard. The standard is a reasonable doubt, meaning I still can kind of doubt that he did it. And yes, I still could easily see a reasonable jury saying, I still doubt that OJ Simpson actually committed this crime. And I want to bring that up because lots of people watched the trial. Lots of people watched many clips. But the media really wanted him to be guilty. They did this with Michael Jackson, too. They painted Michael Jackson as this horrible child molester. You go to trial, put it before a jury of his peers, they immediately come back with a not guilty. They immediately come back on Michael Jackson's side of things. So what does that mean? Should we trust a jury? It seems like people don't really want to trust a jury, but we have a jury system for very specific reasons. And the main one is that it puts decisions about the law in the hands of regular people, so that if the law itself is not just, the people can just simply acquit. It's called jury nullification. You're actually not supposed to instruct a jury at all whether they can nullify. That's like, but that's really why you have a jury, is for that reason. And so that you can have something that's looks at the case, a regular person looking at the case without all of this outside influence. And as the media has become more and more powerful and kind of ever present, it becomes a thing where people have this idea of whether somebody's guilty or innocent really outside of this thing we've established to try to get the most objective look at the events that's possible. 12 people have to be convinced of something rather than one person, so it distributes the responsibility, and it also puts it in the hands of people who are of normal understanding. They're not lawyers, right? Lawyers have a different perspective on things, but the lawyers can then rule on the execution of law at higher levels going up to the Supreme Court. It's actually a really pretty balanced system. It's expensive. It's not perfect, but usually it's going to produce most of the outcomes that you want. And the Bill Cosby case is also a good one. That one was definitely tried in the court of public opinion well before it got to trial. Turns out there was massive prosecutorial misconduct and everything was dismissed with prejudice, which means you can't retry it. There was such egregious prosecutorial misconduct in the Bill Cosby case. So really, it's the higher level lawyers, the judges, who are really checking what the lawyers below them are doing and whether they're actually, our combative systems actually producing an objective result for justice and things like that, and for the law. So anyway, 12 people spent a lot of time thinking about this. A lot of people come up, maybe there was one person who really wasn't convinced, and they just had to be convinced by the other people of the jury. We won't know, and that's fine. The point is that after 3 days of deliberation, you can't say that they were biased and just threw their hat in one direction or the other. At least one person on the jury took a lot of time to come to that conclusion. They took a lot of time to think about whether Kyle Rittenhouse was guilty or not, and they came to that conclusion after legal proceedings that may have been highly biased against Kyle Rittenhouse himself. So that says something. So you can't really say, oh, this jury was a bunch of biased idiots. Like that narrative doesn't fly. The OJ Simpson narrative of it was a bunch of colored people that acquitted OJ because he had a dark skin. That was like the narrative of the 90s. Think about that for a minute. It's really, it's I don't know, it really denigrates the people who sat through months worth of trial stuff to hopefully come to a conclusion on a specific issue and a person's reasonable guilt or not. Anyway, so that's what I want to say about that, is that when you have these televised courts, everything is so filtered down to the individual. It's almost impossible for somebody to have an objective view, and certainly not the view that the jury has, which is you're trying to kind of create the most objective stance possible. But I also think it's quite far out for you to have, I mean, it's just nonstop stuff with the media, including the president, like condemning the decision of a jury of peers in regards to acquitting somebody of a crime that the person was accused of, including first-degree murder, which is a very serious offense. So if you think about that, obviously the jury only counts when it comes to a conclusion that we have already been told that we should agree with. And when in reality, it may be more complicated than that. Anyway, so there's that. Let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the chat, and then we'll play a game, hopefully. Hello, David. Do you know how or where I can make my podcast cover art to upload and send to Sounder? I do not know anything about that. Sorry. Let's see here. Oh, can you link the channel? Yeah, let me see here. Let me find it. Yeah, give me a second. I'll link the Bantha Fodder channel. I'm gonna try to put up like it's shit posting. That's why it's called Bantha Fodder. It's the poo-poo post. It's the manure mail. It's just garbage, right? But people like they like banter. They like stupid banter. Here we go. Here's the Twitter. And we'll find the YouTube here. Hey, folks. Where is it? Bantha Fodder. I have 5 subs. Woo! And here's the YouTube channel. Delivering the manure mail. Yeah, the courtroom, the workings of courtroom are very interesting. I can recommend almost anybody take at least like an introductory course on law. It's probably a really, really good idea to take an introductory law course, or like something that explains the basics of how the court system works in your country of origin. So I know not everyone lives in the United States, and different countries have different court systems. Some people have inquisitorial court systems, which work very differently from the courts in the United States, which are oppositional courts. So you have like a defendant and a prosecution, and they're both battling it out. Inquisitorial system, the judge kind of takes an active role in what's going on. And I'm not going to say which one's better or worse, but they work differently depending on where you're at. I don't know why I'm getting these little notifications, but anyway, I'm going to close that out so I don't get any more. So there's the Bantha Fodder channel. Here we go. I saw another body language expert, and she gave a completely different picture, mostly that the prosecutor is a piece of shit. Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you who the real body language experts are pickup artists. Pickup artists. And the reason pickup artists are body language experts is they put it into practice over and over and over again. They become an expert through use. A guy who just looks at screenshots and declares himself a body language expert is probably the kind of guy who can't read a room when he walks into it. Probably the kind of guy who can't really get laid if he wants to, because he can't actually read people's body language and doesn't know what's there. Whereas like a pickup artist practices it. It's like a practice thing. They know what the body language means, and they know how to respond to it and how to use their own body language, right? And body language changes by culture too. So, body language stuff that works in the US probably won't work in India, for example, or Japan, or some other completely foreign country. Rather, there'll be some kind of disconnect because we develop body language same way we develop language, which is through constant trial and error and use with other people. Yeah, body language experts are like handwriting experts who study the jurors' notes in the Rittenhouse case. Lots of confirmation bias and nonsense. Yeah, the point of this guy here was really to just to inflame the emotions of people who are on his side. That's it. That was what he was doing. I don't think he's actually autistic. I use that as a joke because I'm like, if you think Kyle Rittenhouse is a sexual sadist because he made a motion of inserting a magazine into a rifle, like, you are either autistic or you're lying, and it's probably more likely the latter, right? I heard it was OJ's son that did it, and OJ was just taking the rap. I've heard that too. There's lots of weird. The point is that I don't actually think the evidence, like the fact that there was DNA, Nicole Brown Simpson's DNA in OJ Simpson's truck, like she'd ridden in that before. It could have gotten there somehow, some other way. There's lots of little things about, this kitchen knife had OJ's blood on it. It's like, yeah, because he cut himself with it, right? They have lots of little things that, like, it doesn't really make sense why this would be there and not there. So there's two OJ trials. Kai's got a point. They're different courts though. The first OJ Simpson trial was a criminal proceeding. The second O.J. Simpson trial was a civil proceeding, and it was a suit for wrongful death. Now, the problem with that suit for wrongful death, and I don't think it ever really got appealed correctly in courts or whatever, but is that a wrongful death suit is usually a death due to negligence or some other liability factor, right? Not murder. So it would be like you accidentally ran someone over because you weren't paying attention. That's a civil wrongful death suit. Where there's a loss, loss of life, loss of society, that kind of stuff. That's different from like he intentionally murdered someone. So how that all worked out, I didn't pay that much attention, but yeah, it was mostly white. It could have just been they leaned on the idea because in civil courts you have slightly different standards of evidence that, like, hey, we think this family deserves full compensation for her death because OJ caused the death. And they're like, okay, we believe that. Well, it took long for them to reach an obvious verdict. The verdict could have been less obvious than you think because you didn't see everything, and you didn't see everything from the jury's perspective. Or it could be that there was like one holdout that really was biased and everybody else wasn't. Or, we don't know. We don't know what was going on and who was needing convincing or not. But the point is that 12 people came to a conclusion, and you certainly can't say that they took the conclusion lightly because they spent a long time deliberating. Tribalism's very real. Yeah, it's very real. Do you think court cases should be shown? I see it as modern-day gladiator matches where society cheers over misfortune of others. It's not about law and entertainment. This is a great question. Antonin Scalia, I'll lean on Antonin Scalia, may he rest in peace. He was for the videoing and televising, like on C-SPAN or whatever, of Supreme Court cases, until he became a Supreme Court justice. And then he realized that what they did within the court, it was lawyers' work. Televising it would give people the wrong idea of what conclusions they were coming to and why. And that's really, he said, we actually really don't want cameras in the courtroom because most of the people are not going to understand the technical language that we're using and the technical logical processes that we're arguing over to come to our conclusions in a particular case in regards to constitutionality and other kinds of law and textualism or originalism versus living document kind of people. What's the point of that if it gives people the wrong impression, right? He I think correctly saw that the media would cut up and slice and dice those things to present whatever opinion they wanted, and people would really not understand what was happening and would be perhaps baffled by some different conclusions. Now, I read a lot of Supreme Court opinions, dissenting and majority opinions and things like that. Antonin Scalia's were always really well worded, and you could always tell exactly where his logic went from and sort of what things they were leaning on. But it is lawyers' work. It's going to be really difficult for people to understand what they're even talking about, and it's going to be a big opportunity for the media to present a false idea of what's actually happening in the courtroom. So I actually think that they probably shouldn't be televised. Rather, the proceedings should happen within the courtroom. One of the things that you do when you record court records, this is really weird that people don't know about. And televising a court gets rid of some of this. So you have a court reporter who's not actually recording everything. The court reporter is recording things according to a set of rules of what should and shouldn't be recorded. So let's say a lawyer asks a question that's forbidden by procedural law. And the other lawyer on the other side says, objection. And the judge says, sustained, meaning the objection's correct, you can't ask that question. That question disappears off of the record. It disappears off of the court report because it was not legal. It shouldn't have existed. It never should have been said, so it gets deleted off the record. Why does that matter? Well, it matters on appeal because the jury still heard it. The jury still heard it. And so this is how mistrials can happen, is that if there's so many things that, are basically forbidden by procedural law, that it really makes it so the jury cannot offer an objective ruling, then that's where you end up with the mistrial. So the objection is recorded, but the actual transcript, it's like when they're considering, for future appeals, they're considering what was there. It's like you can not consider the things that were removed because of objections and things like that. And then the other lawyer can be like withdrawn. So you can have a lawyer say, and I've seen this in the courtroom, and it's a certain tactic, is that you're always playing against the edge of the rules. It's game theory, really. So you'll say and do things which are forbidden. You'll do them intentionally. They're forbidden by procedure. You're kind of up against the line of what's you're painting that line in the ping pong game. You're up against the line of what's actually forbidden, and while the objection is sustained, the message is still sent to the jury. The jury still heard the question. The jury still thought about what the lawyer said through that question. Badgering the witness. You did this, didn't you? You saw her. You were jealous. You were angry. You decided to kill her, didn't you? Right? Objection. All right. Sustained. Withdrawn, Your Honor. Well, the jury still heard you berate the witness and heard you say all those things to the witness and saw the witness react. So there's all these extra things that aren't part of the court report that the jury sees. Now, everybody at home, if you're televising it, will also see those things, which makes it even harder to get if there's a mistrial, to get another trial where everybody's seen it. Makes it even harder to do things on appeal that will, hopefully lead to the correct decision being carried out. So anyway, there's that. I kind of think that they probably shouldn't be, because I think it leads a lot of people to the wrong conclusions, and having it all be televised all the time doesn't solve the problem. As I pointed out, most people are not watching the entire thing. They're still relying on their news sources to filter what happened, rather than somebody being from the newsroom, like sketching a witness and then like saying this was some of the things that were said. That kind of filtering, it's still just as biased. Having it all be televised doesn't remove the bias, because most people aren't going to watch the entire proceedings. They're just not going to. To be honest, I don't believe in this system anymore. A lot of people are waking up to that. Why was the DA chosen for such a case? It's the DA gets to choose who gets prosecuted and who doesn't. It's his option. He can choose to prosecute anybody basically for any crime, as long as like a grand jury is willing to hear it, if that's applicable in a certain case. In a lot of cases, it's not. He can choose not to prosecute. If somebody blatantly committed a crime, he can choose not to prosecute it. We saw that in the Jesse Smollett case, was the prosecutor's just like, I'm not going to prosecute it. And everybody, there was a big outrage over it. It's like, no, this person committed a crime and they should be prosecuted. And the DA can just decide not to. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's go ahead and isn't law relevant to all judiciary and public affair? I agree. The media is about half-truths, but with exemption of other rights being on the line, the public deserves access. I can see that perspective too. Yeah. I don't think you're wrong to like want a televised thing there. I would be more inclined to say televise the Supreme Court hearings because that has to do with law that is really precedent setting versus a criminal proceeding where there's lots of stuff televised that the jury doesn't see, that of course people are going to be biased against what the prosecution is doing based on the prosecution getting chewed out by the judge like every other day. But the jury really shouldn't see that because you don't want the jury to acquit because they have a negative view of the lawyer who's prosecuting. That wouldn't really be correct either, right? And you want them to really, hopefully view the case on its merits. Yeah, Soros did fund a lot of DA campaigns. This is how you do it. You put in DAs that will refuse to prosecute crimes that you want and will prosecute other crimes that are really shouldn't have been crimes. The fact that Kyle Rittenhouse was on trial at all tells you that the entire system is political. The idea that the courtroom system is not political, he wouldn't have been on trial at all. If this had happened in Paris, Texas, there'd been no trial of Kyle Rittenhouse. It wouldn't have happened. Right? I think it's pretty easy to come to that conclusion. If it had happened in Clovis, Texas, Paris, Texas, if it happened in some town in Texas, outside of, say, Austin, or maybe San Antonio, probably Austin. Austin might have prosecuted him. But if it had happened in pretty much any other town in Texas, there would never have been a prosecution on this account, right? Never would have happened. So let's keep that in mind as we go forward. Anyway, let's play some games and have some fun. Let's see here. Go. Turn on my controller. Ba-ba-bum. Where is it? All right. Hopefully you guys can hear this. Yeah. Kim Fox has ties to Soros. I believe it. There we go. Let's go ahead and we'll just load a state here. There we go. Alright. Good. I updated the firmware on my controller. The like left button wasn't working for some reason. Alright, we just got, who did we get? Gao. He's okay. Rage. Let's see what that does. Oh, my blitz input was wrong. Brawler, Were-Rat, Lobo, Magitech armor. Let's see what that does. Oh, that worked pretty good. Sword Tech. Oh, I'm not doing this correctly for some reason. Tech laser. Oh, that's cool. I'm gonna have to go back and I think we got turned to stone here. Let's see if I have a soft here. I do. There we go. Let's see, skills. Let's It is. Yep. Alright, that's right. I'm doing it backwards. Doing blitz backwards. I'm trying to remember where I'm supposed to go next. I think I'm supposed to go up on the river or something. I wonder what does leap do? Let's find out. Oh, it makes us escape. Alright, whatever. From what I've heard, Nick Rakita was the #1 most watched internet source info in the Rittenhouse trial. Yeah. Do the courts have too much power? Not enough. Checks, balances. Thinks Barnes mentioned that the courts are their own judiciary, congressional, and executive branch. All rolled into one. Yeah. Oh, my guy's disappeared here. Here we go. Will this hit both sides, I wonder? Should. Hey, where'd my guy go? Did he disappear? From my party? He did. Okay. Recommending work bets that can help with grammar. I don't know. It depends what kind of grammar you need. Like little kid grammar books? I don't know. Or like adult grammar books would probably be Elements of Style by E.B. White. Do I have to give him more dried meat? Oh, woo! Oh, I'm Blanca. I'm your friend. Let's travel together. Okay. Pincer attack. Oh no. I haven't seen any videos by Bombard's body language. He comes back with learned moves. Okay. Oh, we'll try that. I'm gonna get more dried meat. I don't know if I have to give it to him over and over again or not. So we'll just go back and get some. Fire dance will just kill everything. Separation of powers is actually only a gentleman's agreement. Alright, so we don't need the meat to get him back. Do you know what a power gut is? I think you're talking about the Bubblegut Bonanza. Bubblegut Bonanza is a different thing. We could talk about that. You know, the debate is like where it really comes from. It's not, calling it a power gut is, I don't know who calls it a power gut. Have you created a video on how to create the proper book format in MS Word? I have several. Yeah, I have 2 of them. There's a 20-minute long one, and then there's a shorter one. I go through like everything in super big detail. I'm sure you could find it. It's probably all under the... I mean, I'll look it up for you real quick. grab my playlists. Probably under this playlist. I'll just give you the playlist. Oh, sorry. Oh, I was going to say, separation of powers is a gentleman's agreement. Because Obama did this. He simply told people to ignore the law. And you see this from time to time. Like, you know, Biden will just tell agencies to simply ignore the law. Simply ignore the courts. All it takes is one executive to, like, really be able to get the people under his command to ignore the courts, and the courts are powerless. The courts only have power because the legislature and the executive branches allow them to have power. Yeah, it requires a functional society. It requires people who have honor and are moral people. It's completely unfit for anything else, and it just will deteriorate. Like, the second that the second that you have somebody that's willing to just ignore the power of the other side, and really that's going to be the executive. As soon as the executive is willing to ignore the legislature completely, and the people that report to the legislature, report to the executive, are also willing to do that, then that you've converted into like a full imperial style situation rather than anything approximating like a democracy. I don't think separation of power is pointless. It's fine if you understand that power is dangerous in and of itself, but also that the people who are in the political machine are also people who are honorable. That's the only way that works. Let's see my HP. Did I buy enough tonics? Yeah, I did. Okay. Would you ever submit a short story to a magazine for publication, such as Kirsova, or do you prefer self-publishing everything? I prefer to self-publish everything, but I do have a novella that will be out in an anthology called Pulp Rock that has a bunch of other authors. I've put out anthologies myself, like the Corona-chan one. I'm not against that, but virtually there's virtually never a case where something I've written has a call for submission from any magazine, because I just kind of operate on my own. And if someone's like, we're looking for stories that are like this, I'm probably not going to write one like that. I'm probably going to do whatever I feel like doing all the time, because that's what I do. Sigma. Hagar, the shiny thing Blanca spoke of is in here. Sir Blanca, where exactly is it? Blanca, forget. Oh, shall we look around? Indeed. Is it this? Blanca's treasure? Treasure, yes. Looks like glass. Looks just like it might fit. Is this of any use? Will this really let us breathe underwater? Let's go. A power gut is when a bodybuilder has a thick belly that is made up of muscle and tightly packed hardened fat. Supposedly, it increases abdominal strength. This is nonsense. So I'll just tell you this is nonsense. So the bubble gut is not some thick layer of muscle and tightly packed hardened fat. If you're thinking of power lifters, of course they have a strong core. It's mostly fat if you're like super heavy power lifters. If you're talking bodybuilders, the bubble gut is not desired, and it is not preferred, and it is not wanted, and it looks bad. What it is from is debatable, but it's probably a combination of growth hormone, which causes subabdominal fat to remain. Basically, okay, well, it's growth hormone, which causes your organs to get bigger, and just causes you to get bigger in general. But growth hormone also converts into what's called IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1. And you can actually get different insulin-like growth factors called peptides, and they're legal to use. But so some people just use those instead. But growth hormone does a bunch of different things. So if you use growth hormone, it can cause your internal organs to get bigger, which is going to give you a distended belly. But it's also from using insulin. So a lot of bodybuilders will just use straight up insulin, and that what the insulin does is it makes your muscles just absorb a bunch of sugar, so they get big and bloated, and also you have a bunch of sugar in your muscles. Insulin is actually a potent anabolic. It will increase the intramuscular water, and it will help you with strength and things like that. So most bodybuilders, I mean, I don't know about most, but a lot of bodybuilders use insulin, especially with like post-workout stuff. And the thing about insulin is that insulin will do a couple things. It causes your cells to absorb sugar, but it also will prevent your fat cells from getting rid of fat. So as part of the dieting process, the subcutaneous fat gets burned off, but there's fat that's subabdominal, which is much harder to get rid of and doesn't go away quite as easily. So it's not there's really no such thing as a power gut. That's really just a bunch of nonsense. It's just fat. And bodybuilders have it because they use massive amounts of drugs in order to put on as much mass as possible. And of course, you're going to put mass around the midsection as well, including the abs. But mostly, I think it's that there's a lot of subabdominal fat that remains there. There's internal organ size may have grown a little bit. And the dieting process doesn't get rid of the fat that's below the abdominal wall. That layer of fat still remains. And just the subcutaneous fat and water has been kind of flushed off. So it's a combination of all those things: regular anabolics, growth hormone, insulin, and then the diet regimen as well. But unless we hop in, we won't see our friends again. Beer gut is from metabolic syndrome. That has to do with intaking lots and lots of carbohydrates. You can just Google metabolic syndrome. You'll probably get some info on that. So bubble gut's a different thing. Bubble gut is really from the entire bodybuilding lifestyle trying to take mass to the utmost extreme. Bantha fodder, I linked it. Not ban the father, bantha fodder. As in bantha poop. Oh, I guess I can only pick up moves in that original area. Yeah, modern bodybuilding is really kind of weird. Modern bodybuilding is very much about like the extreme, taking mass to the extreme. It's really about being as extreme as possible. Oh, man. When are you moving on from the Final Fantasy streams? I'll probably add a second one. This might be the last stream in this room. I built the new office. That's kind of why things have been going a little bit, kind of just not having as much time to do what I need to do. X Potion. I don't do streams on films. I'll do more. I've done film reviews. I did one on Dune. I don't watch that many films. I may do one on the Wheel of Time series because I think people might be interested in that. I watched some of it last night. I didn't really like it, but not because it's particularly bad. It's just not that good either. Trilobiter, huh? Oh, whoops. Do you think banthas are named after Bants from the John Carter books? I don't know. It could be, yeah. I didn't think about that. I think Jabba was inspired by Baron Harkonnen. I actually think that, I think that completely. I think he was. I don't know if George Lucas ever said that, but yeah, probably. There's probably some influence in there. Yeah. So I usually stream games. Do you lift? Yes. On occasion, I will lift weights. I don't look that big in that with this like camera angle here, though. I have muscles on my body. So. Whoops. Dropped my phone. Wait. Can I? How do I get that chest? Is there like a hidden door here? A little hidden door somewhere here? Maybe there's a way down. Let's find out. Maybe over. Whoa! The water went away. Okay. Oh, that was a switch on the ground. Okay. Well, the Lord of the Rings series isn't out, but I'll do Wheel of Time because I think people will care about that. Plus, it is an opportunity to sell fantasy novels. Oh yeah, I need to do Return of the Jedi review. There's so much stuff on the list, it's hard to do it all. I have this giant document full of like YouTube videos that I need to do, and I just like never get to the bottom of it. It's like a to-do. It's the dangers of a to-do list. That it's possible you just never get to the end of it. I need to do a Final Fantasy V review. There's a lot of stuff I'm behind on. That's okay. I wanted to take a couple weeks and do like pre-recorded stuff and just kind of see how that does. And truth is, it doesn't do that much better than the live recorded things. But we got to try that out, you know. And then the Bantha Fodder channel, I'm just going to leave that for like, I'm going to talk 5 minutes about random crap that I think is funny. I feel like the hot takes. South Figaro bound ferry. Still need to shop. Okay, here we are. Oh. Here we go. You meet that odd man, lives near the Let River. His wife bore him a son 13 years ago. It was a problem birth, and the woman passed away. The man totally lost it. He thought the newborn was a monster. Wondered what happened to the poor little baby. It's Gal. Yoo-hoo, you handsome thing. How about joining me? Tee-hee. How dare you, you licentious howler! Jeez, don't blow an artery, baby. Oh yeah, 2 cuts of legend. Hagar, don't let it get to you. I'm not like that. No one thinks you are. Just let it go. Stop whispering. My ears are burning, baby. Enough! Have you no shame? I'll have you know, etc., etc. Goodness. This guy have something? There used to be ships sailing to the southern continent. Zen, Albrook, Miranda, they've all been smashed. Boop. Have any imported goods? Sound is a little weird here for some reason. You took one look at me and thought I was a loser, right? You're obligated to buy from me now. Ooh, a fairy ring. Why don't we get one of those? No one can reach Nicaea unless they have a ship. Heavy shield. Mage's hat, bandana, iron helmet, kung fu suit, a silk robe, and iron armor. Let's buy one of those and one of those for when we need it. So let's can we equip on Blanca? Optimum. Like he still has a shield on. Be gone, Fott! Yeah, in the original Star Wars, Jabba was just a guy. And then he was like, maybe I'll replace him with an alien or something. Potions. Smoke bomb. Oh. That might be good. Buy some of those. Some Phoenix Downs, tents. Alright. Just overall health and fitness, or do you have goals for lifting? I mean, I used to be way more into it, but you change. You change what you do, based on your life situation. I don't have time to like spend 14 hours. I can't spend 14 hours a week at the gym anymore. So I just go a couple times a week, and I have workouts that I do that are generally pretty effective for that, and kind of keep things going. I don't need to be some huge bodybuilder. I don't take performance enhancing drugs. That's not my lifestyle. But I want to be strong enough to do the normal activities that I do, and healthy enough to do what I do. I still do probably 45 minutes of cardio a day, always. I run like a 5K every day, pretty much. So that keeps the heart in good health. Rock slide has blocked the path leading north. Okay. So, I mean, every person should try to be strong. Where are we? Oh, we're here. I like the Magitech armor. I think that's rad. Yeah, I'm not into like the whole bodybuilding thing as a lifestyle, like doing the drugs and everything. It's just more you gotta keep yourself strong. That's important. A crowd-funded movie about Hunter Biden called My Son Hunter. Oh God. Why? Why? Alright, let's try something else. Exocyte. Let's see what some of these do. What a weird idea. I don't know. That sounds like, I don't think that really sounds like, I mean, he probably has a really interesting lifestyle. Be like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. You know, but about a real person? I don't know about that. That seems, I don't think that that's the kind of movie I would want to make. But whatever. People do their thing. Here, let's stay. Oh, thanks, Noah. Thanks for being one of the most level-headed guys in my sub box the last 5 years. Appreciate all your content and opinion pieces, even when I may not agree. Great stuff, man. Thank you. Most people, when they disagree with me, tend to get... I shouldn't say most people. Some people, when they disagree with me, tend to get, like... They go crazy. I don't know. Then I have to, like, ban them from the channel because they are spamming over and over again. How dare you say something that... I didn't think. Chocobo ride for 80 gold pieces. Hop aboard. Oh, you know, maybe we could... Yeah, let's try it. Alright, here we go. Let's see if the Chocobo finds something cool. Oh, yeah, I remember. There's nowhere to go at this town, though, you know? You can just go to these trees. That's it. That's pointless. Why is there a Chocobo when there's, like, no reason to go anywhere? I don't know. There's Mode 7 graphics, though. Those are cool. I mean, you could tell the story of Hunter Biden by telling it. Suplex! I missed. Sounds like a comedy. Physical strength, somewhat of a civic duty. Well, I mean, yeah, you had to be able to contribute to military service. A lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot of people. Some people need to learn a little bit about Rome. Like, the people who had skin in the game in Rome, in like Roman society, were landowners. So you actually couldn't join the army originally unless you owned land. Buy that mithril pike. Why not? Which is weird when you think about it. It's like, no, you didn't. It's the opposite of Starship Troopers. So rather than gaining access to the body politic through military service, you can't engage in military service unless you're part of the body politic. Unless you're a land-owning Roman, you actually couldn't join the military during the Republican period. And it was only when the military started to get stretched really thin and the Italian allies didn't have quite as many soldiers either, that changed to where part of the, you know, the landless mob could be part of the army. And then eventually towards the late, say the late Empire in the West, you had a lot of barbarian soldiers. Rather than Romans. But originally, you know, you can only even join the military if you were an enfranchised Roman. You were a Roman who owned land. Otherwise, you couldn't even join the military. So it wasn't like, you know, joining the military to get skin in the game. You had to have skin in the game first. Let's go. It's just an interesting thing. So, of course, the American Republic, originally only landowning males could vote. White landowning males. Why only white landowning males? Well, they were, you know, you tried to put all the skin in the game in one area. People who had land, people who basically the outcomes of the Republic really mattered to them. To the landless mob, you know, you controlled them with the dole, more or less. Yeah, I'm just so not interested in like some right-wing movie about Hunter Biden. That just doesn't... Can't we spend that money on a good story to inspire people rather than like a political piece? It's just so stupid. It's so freaking pointless to talk about Hunter Biden at this point. Who cares? Yeah, he's a loser. Yeah, he bangs whores. We don't need to make a movie about that. He's not interesting. You might make a movie to like make Biden look... Biden may not even be president next week. It's like going in for some kind of colon thing. Oh, we found something, and then he'll resign maybe, and then we'll get the first foreign... You'll get a Canadian, half Jamaican, half Indian female president. Ridiculous. Why spend time and effort on something so stupid as a movie about Hunter Biden? It actually really pisses me off. You know, you could... I get why you do it. You do it because there's money. They've already raised $1.7 million of a $2.5 million goal, right? So there's money in it. I get it. You're going to go where... This is why all the grifters like Ben Shapiro exist, is because there's money in it. There's money in telling people what they already know. There's money in telling people what they already think. There's money in playing to one side and like kind of ghettoizing and encapsulating, insisting that side and directing everything towards it. But can't we do something that like matters to the freaking world instead of making a movie about Hunter Biden? What a ridiculous waste of resources, and I hope none of you have contributed to such a stupid project. That sounds like the dumbest idea I could imagine. I will never watch that movie, and I would never make a movie like that. There's just... Anybody who cares about Hunter Biden's story already knows it. You're not going to convince anyone with this movie. You're just playing to the passions of one side at that point. It would be like if Hollywood made a movie about Donald Trump Jr. in 2017. Like a movie. They didn't even do that. It's pointless. That would make a good movie. That doesn't change people's opinions on anything. It's just a way to grift. It's just a grift, guys. It's just a grift. It's a grift with probably a bad movie at the other end of it. Hagar, Narsh is just a stone's throw away. Like, right-wing grifting is a real problem because right-wingers feel like they need somebody who says things that they agree with because they're so overwhelmed by media that hates them and wants them dead. I get it. You want that emotional validation. This is a waste of resources. You could make a good story instead. You could spend your money on something good. Making a political movie about the son of the president, I just can't see any artistic reason to do that. There's no artistic reason. It's just a grift. I'm sure they did. Me hope so too. The three have reached Narsh, and a decisive battle is about to take place. Where are all the conservative creators? Where are they at? Well, we need to do conservative art. It's like, just do good art that comes from the, that promotes natural rights, let's say, and you're making conservative art. There's no, the conservative movement couldn't even conserve the women's bathroom. So what are they going to do with some movie about Hunter Biden other than waste everybody's time? What a stupid idea. Anyway, I understand all of it, except how can we be encouraging bloodshed? I never said that. Something like it. Ah, he's right, you know. Barnin, our blood will spill because of you. Emperor Gestal's racing to acquire Magitech power. He set his sights on the aspect that was found here. The increased use of Magitech power will surely lead to global destruction. The War of the Magi. The mythical battle that set mankind back 1,000 years. Can this really be happening?
people will never learn. Brother! Sigma, you're all right. Who's with you? I'm Hagar, retainer to the Lord of Doma. Blanca, go! The people of Doma were wiped out by the Empire. Kefka poisoned everyone. Barbaric. Elder. But that was only because Doma was collaborating with the Returners. If we make that mistake... That's nonsense. Everybody's together. Key! The Empire's poised to attack Narsh right now. What? Key, where'd you hear that? Juno here was one of the Empire's generals. I knew she seemed familiar. Blanca, out of my way! This is General Juno. She torched Miranda. She's an Imperial spy. Now stand aside. Wait, Juno has joined the Returners. She's fighting with us now.
30% of Biden voters who polled, being told that the Hunter Biden laptop said they wouldn't have voted for him if they knew beforehand. Doesn't matter now. It could have been 100%. And you could have told him before the election. He still would have won. You guys know what's up, right? Yeah, the Con Inc. should invest in things they find impractical, like books. And they should make a movie with an inspiring, good story. They should make Curse of the Dragon... I've talked about some B movies on the channel. They should make something like Curse of the Dragon Slayer, but just really high budget and good. You know? Like, they should make good stuff, but they won't do it. They just won't. It's not in their mentality. Their mentality is, how can I make money today? How can I get conservatives to give me money? How can I get money from them? How can I have a business talking to conservatives? They don't just think about anything else. And really, you have to have a filmmaker who's just like, I want to make a really good movie. It's probably going to be Amanda Milius. We should give a bunch of money to Amanda Milius and tell her to go make some like Cole the Conqueror stories. And like, she'd probably make really good movies. This is John Milius' daughter, who she worked for Trump, and she's the most based woman alive. This woman's based. You know. Yeah, we should just give Amanda Milius a bunch of money. She had a movie called The Plot Against the President. We should just give her money and have her make real movies. But we won't do that, because you have to like gather up conservative ire and stoke their emotions the same way the other side's stoked, and then sell them something. You know, like the left doesn't get grifted nearly as hard as the right. I'll put it that way. But I promised I'd protect her. I will not back out on my word. Sorry to interrupt the dialogue. Key, are you still thinking about that? I was also an Imperial soldier. What? The Empire's evil, but not all of its citizens are. Oh, this is... Emergency! The Empire cometh! The Empire cometh. Something wicked this way comes. I don't care what you do here. Just get me to that Esper. Lord Kefka, there's civilians here. Exterminate everyone. But Narsh is neutral. Idiot! Read my lips. Dispose of any who oppose us. March! I've read the Wheel of Time books. That's why I kind of wanted to watch the series and talk about it, because I've read the books. I have very mixed opinions on the books because they are really mixed. You know, they're just mixed books. In some cases, they're really good books, and then they get really, really bad in the middle. They're like unreadable. Some of those middle books are just not good. We really have no choice. Let's make ready for war. They're after the Esper, but moved it into the hills. Then we're going after it. Yeah, the first 3 books are a good read, I think. I'm a soldier, not some love-starved twit. Oh, sorry. Wrong voice. There they go. So, you were born with the power of magic. Isn't it a lovely gift? You can use magic too? When I was a baby, I was artificially infused with magic and raised as a Magitech knight. Have you loved anyone? What's that supposed to mean? Yeah, in the first thing they do in the series is they're like, you can't touch Sidene, you make it filthy. Or you can't touch the power, you make it filthy. Rather than there being 2 halves of the power, which is the whole point of the book. Don't think for a moment I trust you. Fine, use your own eyes, then decide. Alright, let's save the game real quick. Most of the Daily Wire's upcoming projects are non-political. I haven't paid attention to them because it's the Daily Wire. But I don't pay attention to them. Oh, what are we doing here? What does this do? I'm not sure what I need to do here. I'll just use her. Save the Esper from Kefka? Need some info? Yes. You'll fight in 3 groups. Use the Y button to switch between them. Defeat Kefka before his men reach Bannon. Otherwise, you lose. Form 3 groups. Alright, let's do Sigma in 1. We'll do Chad in 1. 2 good AoEs. Do him in 1. Her in... Where do I want to put her? Put her in there. Key in there. There. So I think she has some AoE. And we'll put him. I'm sure where to put him. Yeah, we have kind of a low level guy there. Key unfortunately ends up low level. Alright. Yeah, Daily Wire is like Neocon Grift Ground Zero. That's a good way of putting it.
Oh, it's General Chino, the traitor! How delightful, this'll be fun! Go get those vile insects.
Alright. Go over here. guys down here. These guys. All right. There we go. Woohoo! Ouch. There we go. Could nationality and race be seen as the same thing in a story taking place thousands of years ago? Yeah. Yeah, that's really what they meant by race. Race was like the nation. The super tribe, if you will. And the other point of, what was I talking about? I read the chat and it disrupted my thought. Oh, let's do magic quick. We have some ice. We'll head in that way. How am I doing the blitz wrong? Done this right every time. Oh, there we go. That does it. All right, here we go. Do fire. Fight. Sigma been interrogated yet? There we go. Neocon and grift are synonymous. Is the plot against the president a grift? I don't know. You'll have to decide for yourself. But that actually came out at a relevant time versus, you know, literally years after an election. Look at this guy. Auto crossbow. All right, yay. Yeah, we already went down the river. The team splits up. Team's back together. Trying to get to the Esper. This is a fun little section, I think. I'm gonna... Let's give a potion to our friend Key. Why don't we just steal? Since like auto crossbow just like clears the field. Let's try ice. Oh, dang it. I pressed A. Oh, well. Oh, it reflected. Reflect. Let's fight this guy. I think the fire dance blitz will go through the shield, go through the reflect. Let's find out. All right. It worked. Cure yourself. House Judiciary Chair Jerry Nadler has told the Department of Justice to review federal charges for Kyle Rittenhouse. Yeah, well, I don't know what they'll get him on. You can't try someone for the same crime twice. So they'd have to try him for some sort of, I don't know what. I'm not sure what they'd try him for. Like trying to cross state lines with a firearm or something, but that's legal. Like they've ever cared about borders before in their life. Yeah, here's what you could do. So I'm going to read this. Not going to watch or feed modern remakes. You know what you could do instead of watching the Wheel of Time series is you could just read the books. Try Rhinotar. Let's see what that does. You know, you could read the books. You know, the show trial didn't go as planned, so you have to figure out the next thing. Cure yourself. Yeah, it's pure politics. Like the fact that you could get like a federal law organization to prosecute someone right after they've been acquitted of a crime kind of tells you what you need to know. Budding romantic tales are the heart of most Final Fantasies. Do you also feel modern media is bereft of sincere boy meets girl stories? I don't think they're bereft. I think they're targeted. They're just highly targeted. I think there's a lot of them that are still out there. There's a reason that Twilight was very popular, is that was its basis. You know, I think there's definitely still out there. For sure. I think the attempt to appeal to mature audiences tends to just view all love and attraction as cynical. Have a cynical view towards it. Like, this isn't real, or like, no, it's all about sex, or, you know, something like that. I think they're still out there. But, you know, they tend to be more targeted towards, like, the young adults. Alright. Here comes more guys. I think this is just like the ideal. I don't remember if you have to like get through all the waves or what. And like get to the end or not. But we'll just kind of start working our way down. Oh, I did that one wrong apparently. There we go. Maybe we should go this way. There we go. I think you just have to fight the final boss. There we go. Yay! Oh no, pincer attack! Alright, fire 2. Sweet. I think I remember, like, you can... I'm try this with like multiple guys. Oh, the writer. Or sword tech. Get rid of this guy. That's a cool sprite. A monster. There we go, we got him. Antidote. I think Sigma's probably a good guy to take this guy down. Let's use some of our tonics. Got a lot of health. Alright. So I'm going to say I really appreciate your bid on New Hero Quest. Thanks. I'm going to do a little bit of a review of it because I play tested it with my son a bit and it's been pretty good. I'm going to save state. Make a little cheater save. Suplex. I can't hit him apparently. Alright, we'll try. See if this hits him. Well, it hits him. She turned herself into an imp. I'm gonna try the suplex one more time. I think I can't hit him with it. Have to give her a cherry or something here. Oh, that didn't work. Let's use the green cherry. Yeah, I can't hit him with the blitz. For some reason. And then my input didn't work. Oh well. Pump up our health a little bit. I'm gonna try it one more time. It's just not hitting. Yeah, I can't hit him with suplex. So let's load our state here. No espers. See what other ones I have. I have like Hadouken. try that. Let's see here. Try him. Let's do our tonics. We'll just try like brute forcing it. Yeah, this is the Super Nintendo edition, not the Pixel release. Oh, we're low on MP. Let's just hit him. 2, 3, 4. Quadra Slam! Ice 2. That is pretty hard. Don't think you won! I'll be back! Escape, okay. Alright, that did it. Is there any sense in them if you don't have access to the original versions? Yeah, I think probably the Pixel remaster of Final Fantasy V is going to end up being the best version of that game, simply because of what's available. You can't get it for Super Nintendo unless you're getting like a fan translation ROM, and then otherwise you're playing it on PS1, which is a little bit different. I did my playthrough as a PS1 version, playing on the PS Vita, so no load times, which is okay. Or you're going to play the remake that they did for mobile, which looks really bad. So probably the Pixel Remaster is going to be the best option. Heck, I won't forget this. Later, Jared.
Where's the Esper? Is it okay?
All right, here we go.
That was a close call. Can it still be alive? Impossible, right? Lucina, what is it?
No!
Lucina and the Esper. There's some kind of reaction.
What? What am I feeling? Huh? What's going on? Please tell me. Who am I?
Who? Lucina!
An Esper. I can actually feel its mind.
Lucina, step away from the Esper. Lightning!
Whoa!
Mode 7 graphics. She's flying around the world.
I haven't seen news of the Unity Weta buyout. I'll have to look it up. Now, what we should do for Final Fantasy IX, what I'd like to do is do the, there's the Maguri mod, which, like, just AI upscales everything so it's really sharp. You're awake. Where's Lucina? She changed into a something and took off. She looked like... She looked like an Esper. Key, you okay? Something happened to Lucina. There seems to be some connection between Espers and her. Anyway, we need to find her. Witnesses saw her screaming across the sky to the west. Let's go. I promised her I'd... Key. Think, people. The Empire still wants that Esper. Bannon needs our help, too. A former Imperial soldier. But we've no choice. We must help her. Let's split up. Those who aren't searching for Lucina will stay and guard Narshe. Figaro Castle can shuttle us to the Western Province. Then we'll make for Kolingen or Jidor. Alright, form one group. It's going to be a good group here. She became hotter. Let me think of a good group. I don't know what two groups should we do here? Yeah, I have a lot of nostalgia for 9. It's a great game. I guess we'll do those. Yeah, I didn't have the drill. I needed to get the drill, but I think I can get it still. I'll watch over Narshe. Go quickly. Laka do his best. Yeah. What if I can buy anything here? Alright, I'm probably going to go ahead and log here for the day. There we go. These clocks have elixirs a lot of times. You get a cutscene if you have both of them. Oh, okay. You have both in the same group? Wonder which group you get. Alright. Well, I'm gonna, let's put these guys are pretty OP. Alright, I'm actually going to save it right there. And we will call it there, I think. Thanks for joining me for this stream. This might be the last time I do like videos in this room because I built a new office that is bigger and, well, I don't know better, but it's bigger. So that'll maybe next week it'll be in a new space. I will not have this stream on Saturday next week because we have a Santa Claus party with our giant extended family, so we'll be doing that. So maybe I'll do it on Friday or Sunday. I'll post on Twitter or on the channel or whatever, and you guys can, if you want to, of course, you can join me on, where is it? Banter Fodder. Where it's basically just me, like shit posting. So anyway, guys, I'll talk to you all later, and you guys have a great rest of your day. It's been fun. Oh, newest book. I don't even know where it is. It's called The Wasting Desert. It's 99 cents, and it's in the description for the stream. So have a good one, and I'll see you next time.